What's up everyone? My name's Brenner. Welcome to my channel. This is Mr. Liquor Sipper and today we're doing another newbie review. Is it a toss it or a sip it? We have Evan Williams Single Barrel Vintage. You're up to bat. Let's go. Alright, let's get straight into it. We are taking a dumpster dive straight into Evan Williams Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey Single Barrel Vintage, 43.3% alcohol at 86.6 proof. You know, Evan Williams has a pretty good reputation amongst whiskey goers for the most part everywhere. This particular bottle I've never had before. I've had some of the cheaper ones. Evan Williams can range all the way down to bottles that are $15. This one here was 30, I think it was 35 bucks. May have been 30 bucks, but that's a rough estimate. Real quick, this is distilled by Heaven Hill. Again, the volume is 43.3% alcohol. All right, so this is this Evan Williams Single Barrel Vintage that's my dog over there doing his toy, squeaking around the house. Okay, he stopped. All right, so this is roughly 10 years old, like I was saying. It is a Kentucky straight bourbon, as it is classified as. From all the aficionados out there, from the research I did, this specific bottle of Evan Williams is 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley, not to be mistaken for melted Chris Farley or Bob Marley on a Harley. Hanging out. I don't know. Real quick, so it is kind of cool. I went through this little booklet here. It does have a little bit of information in it, which I can go ahead and read. You guys will also be able to read that too if you guys are interested in it. But it has it's like a little fun fact book, if you will. This bourbon is single barrel bourbon and Evan Williams single barrel vintage bourbon, which we already know because it says on the freaking bottle. Typically, bourbon is a blend of many barrels. Bourbon bottled from a single barrel is categorized as single barrel bourbon. Evan Williams single barrel vintage bourbon, however, is much more. It's the only single barrel bourbon bottled with a vintage date to provide proof of age and the subtle year to year distinctions found in fine wines. What a difference a date makes. I guess it does. What do you guys think? I feel like you already know that you're getting into something. If it's a bourbon, it's already, 2 years or beyond. But it's kind of cool to know that you could be potentially, you're sipping into history as far as I'm concerned. So that's part of the thing that I really enjoy about whiskey is all the moving parts and pieces and the things that go into whiskey. It's not like a typical alcohol where, like it's like a beer and you can make beer in like 30 days or something. This is a little bit more sophisticated. You gotta be a borderline chemist. So this was also Whiskey of the Year, year after year after year, ... Evan Williams Single Barrel Bourbon continues to receive awards and accolades year after year in recognition of its superior qualities. The following are only a few, because that's all they could fit in this tiny book for ants. Whiskey of the Year by the Spirit Journal. Domestic Whiskey of the Year by Malt Advocate. Spirit of the Year from Bourbon Category by Wine and Spirits Buying Guide. And it says more in here. Spirit of the Year, American Whiskey Category by Food and Wine. Top Spirits of the Year, Best American Whiskey by Wine and Spirits Buying Guide. I mean, so it does have some pretty good accolades. And then it says here, the distillery has issued a vintage Evan Williams bottling every year since 1986. And each year the whiskey has been better than the previous bottling. That's from a wine enthusiast, or so it states. This says, uncork bottle of Evan Williams single barrel vintage bourbon for a date you will always remember. So they're saying that, like they say in here, that this bottle year after year is better than the previous bottle before. So the longer this thing ages, the better it's going to be. How true is that? I don't know, because this is the only specific This is the only single barrel vintage that I've ever had. Like I said before, I've had the cheaper $15 ones. So as far as what I found on Google, Evan Williams is the second largest selling brand of Kentucky straight bourbon, obviously following right behind Jim Beam himself. Quick history here, Evan Williams bourbon is actually named after the individual who many historical experts consider to be Kentucky's first ever distiller. I mean, obviously there's no truth that the man even walked the earth. We don't know if the Evan Williams human being was real or not. But Mr. Williams is said to have been born from Wales before immigrating firstly to Virginia and then going out and finally settling in the state of Kentucky towards the end of the 18th century, somewhere along the lines of holding hands with Jesus Christ and Father Time. So they were all good friends having a powwow, and you know what? He was like, hey, we need something to sip on. And everything that I just said, up until probably the word "the," was a lie, made up story, because who really knows Father Time anyway? So this single barrel expression was first introduced in 1994, and each flavor profile is tested by a chosen master distiller from Heaven's Hill. Alright, so each and every bottle is listed with a barrel number, and then the exact date of entering that barrel and the exact date of bottling from that barrel. So now we are going to take off the little tiny booklet here. Anyway, it's reminiscent of a Maker's 46 bottle or Maker's bottle because of this wax top that's on here. It's similar, but this is black, not red. All right, and it should be an easy pull and peel like Twizzlers itself. So let's... Oh my God, that just went everywhere. That's what she said. Dude, what in the world? Well, if you can't tell I'm a newbie now, then I don't know when you would be able to. Alright, so that's absolutely embarrassing, and I have to do this because that's the only time I ever opened a bottle. I'm gonna take a little bit of a tiny pour here. Got a little bit of 2 ice cubes in there, 3 ice cubes in there to help open up the flavor profile. But we will do as we always do. It's time for Nosing for Newbies! Alright. At the very beginning and the tip of this iceberg, it smells like Pee Wee Herman's bicycle seat. I also get some elements of abandoned butcher freezer and small sense of Pamela Anderson's weird dark dating history. It also smells like that weird pedophile ice cream truck guy that goes around the neighborhood stealing money from innocent children. Also smells like the back seat of a Uber on their way to a dirty, skanky old prom. Watch out, kids. Smells like Meatloaf's last meatloaf. Now, fun fact, do you know why they called Meatloaf Meatloaf? It's because, well, he had quite the meatloaf down under. Alright, so let's go to the real nose. And right off the top, I have some heavy elements of oak and wood, as if I was in the middle of a forest. It smells almost like the wood has been seriously, heavily integrated into this. I get a little bit of smell of some sweetness, but there's just maybe floral, if you will, some floral scents. It just, with maybe a little bit of smoky tobacco that's in there. The smokiness is light, but the tobacco is a little bit more heavy, and maybe some traces of eucalyptus, if you will. What did they say I would actually get? They said there would be some vanilla in there, maybe some cinnamon and some warmth, with a heavy whiff of oak. Well, they weren't lying about the whiff of the oak, but I don't really smell, per se, vanilla in here. But let's go ahead and let's get to the palate and let's see what this is all about. It tastes like a wood chipper. I mean, all I taste is wood from the very beginning. Towards the middle, there is darker fruit, berries, a little bit of the rye spice, and definitely that oak just kind of lasts throughout the entirety of this. I mean, honestly, you would think that this was a damn Jefferson's bottle, because I just feel like it's been surrounded, I don't know, by wood on a Mayflower and shipped for years and years and years. I don't know where that comes from, but it's just, I don't know, I guess when I think of ships and stuff like that from way back in the day, the Mayflower comes to mind. It's a big wooden ship, and I'm babbling. But super, super woody Allen in here with this thing. There's like a barrel char, and then I also get like maybe some citrusy orange peel that I get with that. And it's like from a oaky beginning to an oaky finish. It's the stuff that's in between are the things that I'm tasting more, but it is at the tail end when I get that citrusy orange peel, and then you have the sweeter caramel like taste with the berries that's in there. I really don't get any vanilla, but that just could be my palate. In summary, is this a sip it or a toss it? Obviously, I didn't vomit, I didn't puke. It has some good history behind it. It doesn't have a bad taste in comparison to some of the other ones. If you're into a heavier wood taste, and now here we are. I'm almost going back to it because I feel like maybe there's a little bit of some type of nut that's in this that I'm not, I guess, savvy with or aware of. Whatever it is, it's a weird taste. But that wood definitely just sails straight through the entirety of my entire palate. Overall, this is a sip it. I don't really have anything too terrible to say. If you're not a woody type person, I don't recommend you doing anything with this bottle. Yeah, so if you guys have questions, comments, have bottles or suggestions that you guys want to see, hear from me, whatever the case may be, please leave those down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends, tell your homies, tell your enemies, tell your siblings, tell your dog, and tell everyone in between about Mr. Liquor Sipper. Have them tune in. Check out the channel. We like to have fun here. We like to educate ourselves here at least just a little bit, so you know a little bit about what you're drinking, but we're ultimately here for a good time. So don't forget, I also have a clothing brand here, prevailandconquer.com. Go check it out. We have what we call Bourbon Outfitters. It's a Bourbon Outfitters line. Took a bite off of Urban Outfitters. You guys can check out our clothing. Specifically, we have a lot of gym-oriented stuff. We have your regular streetwear, and then things with Bourbon Outfitters that are specific to whiskey and bourbon enthusiast. So if you guys are interested in checking out some of our designs, some of our clothing, go ahead, check it out. I'll leave a 10% coupon code in the bottom with our link. Go check it out, and don't forget, as always, cheers and keep on sipping.